greatest thing. Everyone's trying to do that. This is the greatest thing. Change order corporation, 2 months they never use it.
Hey, thank you guys for being here.
It showed up. Them names to walk by.
You were the regular,
Those things.
I'm just first playing.
Pete Roxell is our deputy director. I believe we're waiting for the meeting before they make any more directors.
If anyone after needed to go in front of the truck to do their stand-up or film, let me know and I'll bring it out there.
That's way too early. We can't think that far.
We're starting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Doug's been ill, so we are.
Oh, that's right, you're thinking of that, okay, maybe that's, what the entire breakdown of her story, like.
We have, I think 34 listed as random. Right, it's like 12 to 13 at the time.
yeah, so
You can put that in the middle if you want.
if you could send the spreadsheet up to date,
Yeah.
but also the actual,
Okay. Yep, as soon as we get them all, make sure it goes. It's okay.
Three of the channels and these three of them.
everybody's going to.
Yeah, I see that.
Let me know after the meeting.
After yesterday.
But they don't really tell us
These are
Oh my.
Let's do this for them.
it's the release. World is a flower.
Eight, 8:30.
Yeah, no, it's on vaccine.
No wonder.
His
It
numbers
was
is password.
pretty good for us.
Every time I should check on the recording, I see the same woman recording.
Oh, really?
So it's first, but okay, you have a few years to.
He's gonna come around.
I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anytime I get home and the kids are asleep.
Oh, they're just pulled up.
He's a cool dude. I like him. Mm-hmm.
He lives in the land.
Yeah, this is good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's no way about it.
Yep, introduce yourself. Unless you want to introduce you.
So this is-
Who, him? Oh.
How's your son still like the fire academy?
Still loves it.
He's awesome.
What grade is he in?
He's a sophomore.
So that's only random.
So 2 more years he can do EMT then.
She was half right correct.
He's actually looking at a career in the Air Force first, and then coming out and doing another career in the fire department. He realized he could double dip.
Yeah.
I'm like, not even thinking.
That would be corruptible.
So what else is about the front?
Yeah. I don't know. I gotta talk to James because I ran there on Sunday and I was shocked.
if there's a place I could. Is it fine there?
It's on me. Is everyone ready? Good morning. My name's Kyle Berryhill. I'm the fire chief for the City of Palm Coast Fire Department, and we've had several requests interested in the status of our fire police, our volunteer fire police member, Stephen Brooks. And so we'd just like to give you a little bit of general information, then we'll have some questions available at the end. Yesterday at 16:57, the Palm Coast Fire Department, Engine 29, along with our Palm Coast Fire Police, responded with Flagler County Fire Rescue, Rescue 92, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office, and the Florida Highway Patrol to a report of a vehicle crash, a vehicle versus a scooter at Seminole Woods and Sesame in Palm Coast. Upon arrival, they found that this was actually a vehicle versus pedestrian and a vehicle versus an electric bike. And the pedestrian was on the ground, and the crews began to do what they do on a consistent and daily basis, treating the injuries, securing the scene. Fire police is a little bit of a unique resource that we have here in Palm Coast. Fire police respond to emergency scenes, and then they are there to protect the responders. That's become one of the most hazardous places for our first responder, is on or around an emergency scene as we interact with the vehicles, the pedestrians, in situations like that. So fire police, Stephen Brooks arrived there a little 15 minutes after the situation, and things had begun to stabilize from the initial incident. At 17:24, fire police member Stephen Brooks was struck by a vehicle that was traversing the Seminole Woods Parkway. The responders were on scene and completed their initial response and immediately began to treat Mr. Brooks. And so as they did that, he became a trauma alert, which changes the status of where we go to the hospital, changes some of our protocols. Fire flight from Flagler County responded to the area, and Stephen was life flighted to, or was transported via fire flight to the local trauma center, Halifax Hospital in Daytona. Stephen initially is still there today. We're really blessed that he's in critical but stable condition. He has, I think, 4 broken bones, some internal injuries. They're continuing to monitor some of those things. Just to tell you a little bit about Stephen, he is retired from his first career. He worked for a railroad in Utah, where he was also a volunteer member of their fire department. Served for over 22 years. Beaver County, Utah. I'm trying to see. I don't want to miss the Milford Valley Ambulance Service. He reached the level of assistant chief. I always call him Chief Brooksy when I see him. He's a really good man, and you don't like to see your team's blood on the ground, and we saw it yesterday. But luckily, we believe that there's a ton of hope about Stephen's condition, and we're going to go see him in a little bit. And so we're really lucky to have members like that, and to have our fire police corps that protect our responders every day, who are in harm's way consistently out in these vehicle areas. These are areas where, for a long time, there was lots of other dangers, and there still are those dangers, but this is one of the most dangerous places for first responders. We're incredibly blessed here in Palm Coast to have a community that really believes in the mission of first responders. They believe in our sheriff's office deputies, our local police departments, and our firefighters and EMTs and paramedics. And so we consistently get their gratitude. We're incredibly grateful for all of the prayers and thoughts that we've gotten from our community, and we're asking them to do that, and to be incredibly mindful, just as they're responding on the day-to-day. Everyone's got places to go. Everyone's got time as their most valuable resource. But just to take an extra sense of caution as we're going from place to place, especially when we're in and around emergency scenes. That was what Stephen was doing. He was protecting the scene, and that's what our fire police do every day. And so we're really grateful for that. We're really proud. We're really hopeful for the outcome here. And so that is the end of our statement. We have an opportunity for questions.
Did the driver stay on scene?
Yes, the driver stayed on scene. Any investigation questions would have to refer to the Florida Highway Patrol, but there was no, evidence of bad acting. The driver remained on scene and interacted with Florida Highway Patrol. That's kind of their business. But you can definitely work with them to understand if there's But my understanding is there's nothing criminal associated with this action.
Was he hit in his vehicle, or was he?
No, that's a great question. Our fire police respond to the scenes in vehicles, but then they get out and they're directing traffic, they're placing cones, they're placing stop signs, things in the way that create kind of temporary intersections at times, or temporary traffic barriers. And so that's what he was doing. He was in the street. You know, we make sure that the goal is a safe scene. And oftentimes visibility is the priority in that situation. And definitely we wear protective vests, and you'll see on fire engines the chevrons with the high visibility. But sometimes too much visibility can be a distraction. So what we ask people to do as they go through these scenes is to pay attention to where they're going. We know that what's going on is incredibly interesting, but we ask that they trust you to report the facts about what happened in that situation, and that they understand that the people who are there have families, and that if they are looking where they're going and trying to just continue on in a safe way, that that's the best thing that they can do if they want to show support for first responders.
So, just if you're able to paint a picture, was he putting cones down, or, you know, doing something that where he didn't see the driver, or was the driver looking at this, didn't see the, can you kind of get?
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you, I arrived at this situation from the same northbound side as the person who struck Stephen. And at that time, you would think as a Palm Coaster that you're going south on Seminole Woods, but you're really looking due west. And so it was sunset. The sun was brutally blinding at that time of day. And what Stephen was doing was making sure that no one turned left into where the actual accident scene was, right, where the responders were working. So they were working just inside kind of the intersection of Seminole Woods and South Sesame. And so Stephen was making sure no one made a left-hand turn there. And what, if I was guessing, I would say that the sun was a factor. It certainly was a factor as I was coming up. I was being incredibly cautious based on that.
So he was in the middle of the road directing traffic, making sure nobody was going through?
Yes, sir.
So, Chief, I was told by the former fire police member that training protocols have changed, and that you used to have twice a month trainings that were reduced. Is that accurate?
Well, I know that we're still training on a regular basis in our fire police. If I was going to tell you what the exact number is, I couldn't off the top of my head, but we do have a record associated with the training that we do. Fire police train in this room consistently, definitely on a monthly basis. And from our volunteer side, our fire police respond the most, well over 1,000 times in 2024. You know, we're always trying to update training and make sure that we're at the cutting edge or the forefront of what's supposed to be, and the safety of all of our responders, whether they're, you know, our volunteer fire police, our career firefighters, even sometimes when our public information officer has to respond out to be a part of it, even if a reporter's on the scene. Our goal is the safety of that scene. Life safety is our #1 incident priority. So we'll obviously be reviewing our policies and protocols and training regimens to make sure that there's everything that we can do. But my understanding is that we continue to train on a regular basis.
But has the frequency been reduced any?
That's not my understanding, but we've been a fire department for 50 years. So over the course of that time, I bet it's gone up and down.
Was the sheriff's office part of the scene too? Usually they'll come in and put their lights on. Were
Yes,
they
sir.
there as well with you
Yeah.
guys?
So definitely the Flagler County Sheriff's Office and Florida Highway Patrol were on scene at that situation, and I can't say enough gratitude to both the Flagler County Sheriff's Office, Florida Highway Patrol, and Flagler County Fire Rescue. They all treated this as if it was, you know, part of their family that was being. That's their professionalism that they bring to the job every day. But in a specific instance, it's nice to be able to say thank you. I want to recognize the specific units here. From Palm Coast, it was Engine 29, Fire Police, Chief 22, Battalion 25, Battalion 20, and myself who responded. From Flagler County Fire Rescue, we had Engine 16, Engine 62, Rescue 25, Rescue 92, Rescue 62, Fire Left Flight, and then their training chief and their training lieutenant also responded and assisted with being a part of the landing zone.
I don't know if you said this, but what's Mr. Stevens' age, I'm sorry?
He's 82.
So how, I'm trying to word this right, because you're already on scene trying to save a life. Now you're having to also direct some of your attention to one of your own as well. How is that going through the mind when you're on scene like that?
Yeah, if you it's a significant factor for the first responders when one of their fellow first responders is injured in the course of duty, right? We have to continue to do what we're there for initially, but life safety is not just about the reason that the emergency started. It's about the safety of everyone that's interacting with that emergency scene. It's the number one priority at every incident. For the fire service, the next priority is property conservation, and then after that's incident stabilization. So that's a destabilizing part of the incident. It creates, much more situations where there's elevated emotion and things of that nature. I was really proud of the professionalism of the team yesterday from all of the agencies that were responding. But clearly that's a factor when you have something like this. And it's not just a factor in the moment, but it's a factor going on. So we'll be participating in some peer supports type of things to address the mental health issues associated with first response and the type of things that you see and go through as you're dealing in that kind of way.
And a good possibility you'll probably save his life too, because in these critical situations, seconds, minutes count. You're not waiting on arrival, you guys are already on scene, you already have equipment out.
Yes, sir, we're in the time business. And so everything we do is designed to help us to get the most appropriate care as fast as we can in the safest way.
How many fire policemen were there at that point?
Yesterday, there was 4 at that point. Eventually, the scene grew to 6, I believe. And total in the fire police right now is 13, Captain? Yeah, this is Captain Natali. He's the captain of our volunteer fire police.
And just to clarify, in this exact circumstance, the move over law really wouldn't have made it.
No, but it's pertinent to the scenario, right? So we've seen in Florida that our legislature and our governor has heard our citizens that we really care about first responders, and so there's new legislation that's gone into effect that says it's in support of continuing of the old legislation that always said you move over for a first responder, you move over if you can't, you reduce speed, and now we're supposed to assume that everyone is, and that's significant. Is a road ranger count as a first responder? It does to me. So now anyone we see on the side of the road is a person, right? And we're in the person business too. In the fire department. So we really support that law, are appreciative of that. And for residents anywhere, not just Palm Coast, but all of our Central Florida residents, being aware of that is a really important thing. So I appreciate that question.
And he is conscious now?
Yes. Yes, if he was here, he would make a joke. He's a joyful man. Anybody else? All right, that concludes our briefing here, but if anyone has any other questions, I'll be available, okay? Thank you very much. And then Patrick, make sure you get Patrick's contact information because he's, as our public information officer, he's great. And I probably should have said this before I said concluding, but every public safety agency in Flagler County has reached out to give support and prayers. Flagler County EM, Bunnell Police Department, Flagler County Sheriff's Office, Flagler Beach Police Department, Flagler County, I think I said Sheriff's Office, Flagler Beach Fire Department, and Flagler County Fire Rescue. So we're really grateful for that community of first responders that are always kind of looking out for each other. We do a different thing, right? And so we appreciate that community and that support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.